Being a doctor is more than just diagnosing diseases and prescribing medications. Today, we'll dive into what it truly means to be a good doctor. Whether you're a medical student, a seasoned professional, or someone simply curious about healthcare, this podcast is for you.
We've all been there, right? Like you're trying to find a doctor, but not just, someone who's confident. You want someone who really gets you, someone who listens.
Someone you can actually connect with.
Exactly. And you've sent in some really interesting articles about this whole idea of finding a good doctor. So today, we're going deep. We're going beyond just, credentials and stuff. We're figuring out what really makes a difference in your healthcare.
What actually matters when you're on the lookout for someone to trust with your health.
Right. And one thing that jumped out from these articles, it's something called the ACGME's 6 core competencies. Ever heard of these?
I have. They sound kind of technical, though, like something you'd only find in a textbook.
They do, right. But stick with me. They're actually pretty interesting when you break them down. Like, think about a time you went to the doctor and they explained your diagnosis in a way that you totally understood.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Where they didn't use a bunch of jargon.
Exactly. That, my friend, is the communication competency in action.
Makes sense. So it's not just about knowing the medical stuff, it's about actually being able to communicate it effectively.
Exactly. And it goes beyond just explaining things clearly. One article talked about how a good doctor is like a detective.
A detective? Okay, now I'm intrigued.
Right. They don't just treat your symptoms. They try to figure out what's really going on. They ask questions. They listen to your medical history, connect the dots.
So that active listening thing, that's not just about being polite, is it?
Definitely not. Studies actually show that when doctors really listen to their patients, those patients tend to feel better, faster. It's about building trust.
Building a partnership so you're both working together to figure things out.
Exactly. It's about more than just prescribing medication. It's about understanding the whole person. And that reminds me, a few of the articles mention this idea of bedside manner. Is that still a thing? Does that even matter anymore?
It might seem like kind of an old-fashioned term, right? Bedside manner. But it actually covers a whole bunch of really important skills. It's about creating this space where patients feel comfortable opening up. A space where they feel heard and respected.
So it's not just about being charming.
Well, charm doesn't hurt, but it's more about those nonverbal cues. Think about a time when you felt really listened to by a doctor. Did they sit down when they were talking to you? Did they make eye contact? Those little things can make a huge difference.
Oh, absolutely. I've definitely had those appointments where I felt totally rushed.
Yeah.
Like I was just another box to be checked off.
And that makes you wonder, are they really listening? Or are they just trying to get through the day?
Exactly. And that's where this whole idea of a doctor connecting with you on a human level, showing empathy, it's huge.
Because it really does make a difference when you feel like you're being seen as a person, not just a set of symptoms.
Totally. So how do we find these doctors who are good at this whole empathy thing? Is it just luck? Or are there, clues we can look for?
That's the million-dollar question, right? How do you actually find these doctors, the ones who really get it? It's not like there's a guidebook for this stuff.
And it's definitely not as easy as, checking online reviews.
Right. 5 stars for empathy. It would be nice, though.
It would. But one of the articles you sent actually had a really interesting suggestion. It said to pay attention to the doctor's office.
The office itself? What, the decorations?
Well, not just the decorations, but the whole vibe. Do you feel comfortable there? Does it seem like a place where you could ask questions without feeling rushed?
Huh. So even just the waiting room could tell you something.
It could be a clue. Do they have those pamphlets about different health topics? Is the staff friendly and approachable? It can give you a sense of their overall approach to patient care.
Interesting, because a doctor who really values communication, they probably encourage that in their whole practice. Exactly. And speaking of communication, remember those core competencies we were talking about?
Yeah.
You can actually look for those in action, too.
Okay, so how would I do that? Give me an example.
Okay, let's say professionalism. Think about your interactions with a potential doctor, even just on the phone. Did they listen to your concerns? Did they get back to you in a timely manner? Did they seem like they respected your time?
So it's those little things, those everyday interactions.
Exactly. It shows how they approach patient care overall.
It's are they really present in those interactions, or are they just going through the motions?
Right. And while I wouldn't put too much stock in online reviews, They can sometimes give you a glimpse into a doctor's communication style. Like, see if anyone mentions whether the doctor explains things clearly or if they're willing to answer questions.
Oh, that's a good point. It's easy to get caught up in the star ratings, but the actual comments could be really valuable.
Totally. Now remember, this whole finding the right doctor thing, it's a two-way street.
What do you mean?
Well, it's not just about them being a good doctor. It's also about you being an active participant in the relationship.
Oh, right. So what can we do on our end to build that strong doctor-patient relationship?
One thing is to be prepared. Like, before your appointment, jot down any questions or concerns you have. It's so easy to forget stuff when you're actually in the doctor's office, you know?
Tell me about it. My mind goes blank as soon as I walk in the room.
Right. So a little bit of preparation can go a long way. And then don't be afraid to advocate for yourself. Like, if you don't understand something, ask for clarification. If you're not comfortable with a treatment plan, speak up.
It's easy to feel intimidated, though.
I know. But at the end of the day, you're both on the same team. You both want what's best for your health.
That's true. It's a partnership. So we've talked about finding a doctor who's got those core competencies down, building that good relationship, and making sure you're both on the same page. But where does this whole empathy thing fit into all of this? We keep coming back to that word.
Empathy is kind of the glue that holds it all together, because if a doctor truly understands where you're coming from, your concerns, your fears, they can provide care that addresses not just the physical, but also the emotional side of things, and that can make a world of difference.
Absolutely. It's about feeling seen and heard, not just treated. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. We've talked about those core competencies, that all-important doctor-patient relationship, but there's another aspect we haven't touched on yet. The doctor's ability to collaborate, not just with patients, but with other healthcare professionals.
Oh, that's huge. Because healthcare isn't really a solo mission, is it?
Right. It takes a team. So how does that work in practice?
Well, think about it. Complex medical cases, they often require input from different specialists, right? So a good doctor knows when to loop in other experts, when to refer you to someone else, and how to make sure everyone's on the same page.
So it's about knowing when to say, you know what? I don't have all the answers, but let me find someone who might.
Exactly. And that takes humility. And it also takes a commitment to putting the patient's needs first, even if it means, bringing in someone else.
That makes a lot of sense. Now, switching gears a bit, I'm curious about the emotional toll of this profession. Doctors deal with some heavy stuff every day. How do they manage that stress and still be fully present for their patients?
That's such a good question. And it's something that a lot of the articles touched on, this idea of resilience.
Resilience. Okay, so what does that look like in a doctor?
It's about having the emotional intelligence to deal with difficult situations, to learn from mistakes, to bounce back from setbacks.
Right, because you don't want a doctor who's just completely burned out and cynical.
Exactly. That's not helpful for anyone, and that's why self-care is so important for doctors.
So they can avoid that compassion fatigue.
Exactly. They need to take care of themselves so they can take care of others.
Makes sense. So we've talked about finding a doctor who embodies those core competencies, building that positive doctor-patient relationship, making sure they've got that resilience to deal with the tough stuff. But it feels like we keep circling back to empathy.
It always comes back to that, doesn't it? Because at the end of the day, empathy is what allows a doctor to truly connect with their patients, understand their needs, and provide care that's both medically sound and, just plain human.
So we've said like a million times now how important empathy is in healthcare, but it also seems like it would be really hard to, keep that up in such a demanding job. How do we make sure doctors don't lose that empathy, both for themselves and just like in the system as a whole?
It's definitely a challenge. It's like anything else. You have to nurture it. One of the articles talked about how important it is to build this culture of empathy in medical schools.
So it starts even before they become doctors.
Yeah, right from the beginning. Some schools are actually having med students take classes in things like literature and philosophy and even art, just to help them, see things from different perspectives.
Wow, that's really interesting. So it's not just about the science, it's about understanding people better.
Exactly. And it's not just classes either. A lot of schools are using simulations and role-playing so students can get some practice with those communication skills, like how to give bad news to a patient in a compassionate way.
It's like they're getting a head start on that whole bedside manner thing we were talking about.
Totally. But, and this is a big but, one of the articles pointed out that the way the healthcare system works, it kind of goes against all that. Like everything's about efficiency and productivity.
Yeah, it's all about seeing as many patients as possible, as quickly as possible. Not exactly a recipe for empathy, is it?
Right. And it's tricky because obviously you need an efficient system, but not if it means sacrificing compassion. The article suggested maybe we need to rethink how we evaluate doctors. Like, instead of just looking at how many patients they see, why not look at how satisfied their patients are?
Yeah. Like, do patients feel heard? Do they feel like their doctor understands them? That should definitely count for something.
Exactly. And it goes beyond just individual doctors, too. The whole system needs to support their well-being. They need time to recharge, to connect with themselves. You can't expect someone to be empathetic if they're completely burned out.
That makes total sense. It all comes back to that sustainable empathy we were talking about. We need to give doctors the tools to care for their patients without sacrificing themselves in the process.
Absolutely. It's about recognizing that both doctors and patients are human beings.
This has been such a great conversation. We've really gone in depth on what it means to be a good doctor. And it's more than just, having the right degrees. It's about communication, empathy, resilience, the whole package.
And hopefully our listeners feel a little more equipped to navigate the healthcare system, advocate for their own needs, and find a doctor who's the right fit for them.
Because you deserve a doctor who sees you, who hears you, and who partners with you on your healthcare journey. So trust your gut, ask questions, get second opinions if you need them. And keep in mind, finding the right doctor is a process.
It's a journey.
Exactly. And as we always say here on The Deep Dive, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep learning. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to our channel by clicking the subscription button. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below in the comments section.